The Chicago Sky had their first day of training camp yesterday, where a lot of kind of things have come out. Me and Steve are going to break down all the details that come out of the first day of training camp and the expectation that Coach Spoon has now set for this roster. We're going to get into all and more right after this.
Welcome to Chicago Sky Central, and here's your host, Haize.
What's going on, Sky fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Sky Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Sky related. Stevo and Haize in the building today. Stevo, the Sky had their first practice yesterday of training camp. It lasted about an hour reportedly, but several of the players stayed considerably after the practice to get some shots up and still work with Coach Spoon, things like that. Coach Spoon coming out of it saying this, a great deal of energy in here. When you have that as a coach, you feel the buy-in is there. That's what's important for us to gain a little bit of chemistry and continuity. So when you hear that players are already staying after practice, how much new players that we have on this team, really, when you look at it from the ending of the 2022 season to the beginning of this 2024 season, there's been a lot of roster overturn for this. So a lot of new ladies on the team, new coach, new GM, new atmosphere, new identity that they're trying to build. How do you feel about, players kind of already kind of stay to kind of build that camaraderie between them?
Yeah, I kind of expected out the gate like it wasn't gonna look like everybody else. Like we're not gonna look like the base Aces. We're not gonna look like Dallas. They're a team that been together for multiple years, and like you just said, this team is a complete turnaround. For the most part, 3 out of our starters are not here no more,
Yeah.
and on the bench we got two up that left off the bench. So I think we lost between 5 to 6 players. So that's a nice gap and to be mixed. So yeah, a lot of these players that's now on the team have not played with each other. They don't know who they are personally. So like I said on Shot Town Sports last night, the thing that came away from me, we got more information now, but they was trying to build culture, they was trying to build family. And now that you said that, I didn't know that they stayed at the practice even more. It makes even more sense now because that's what you want to do. You want to build camaraderie, you want to learn these people, you want to learn what they like, and to just get a time to really talk and learn each other. And that's what I feel like is going to be a nice portion of the first few days of training camp. It's probably not going to be so many X's and O's. It's going to be about continuity.
Yeah, and for Spoon, she said the emphasis of this first practice was defining expectations and kind of finding roles on the roster. Now, we got some details. Even though I've been telling people that don't expect Angel Reese to start. Me and you've been telling people that. Coach Spoon has even reiterated that. We'll talk about that here in a second. Camila Cardoso did say, though, that she actually compared Coach Weatherspoon to Don Staley in a lot of ways, saying this: I don't like to compare people, but Weatherspoon is very similar to Coach Staley. They're big on family and the little details, and she holds us accountable. That's what I love about Weatherspoon. She stays true to herself. That is the part that not to compare her to James Wade or to say anything was bad. I think the culture was great here when James Wade was here. But when you're establishing something new and you have new pillars and your new players that you're trying to build around, on top of all of that, having that camaraderie between your team and being able in just one practice for people to kind of understand that that's what you're trying to do, that's going to go a long way, I think, during the season as well.
Most definitely, because if you don't have that camaraderie, if you don't have that, first of all, as a coach, if you're not setting that standard to begin with, you're basically not setting a foundation for your team. And I think you kind of specified it on draft night. I already knew it, that if we wanted anybody else on this team to be this coach, it was gonna be Don Staley. But when we seen Teaspoon come here, we was like, okay, yeah, that's the type of player. And they're very similar. They coach hard, they're blunt, they're fiery, but most importantly, they have a genuine belief system, and they love that they're what she said. Family is very good and we know how it is with Dawn. She supports players outside of South Carolina, and the same thing with Teaspoon. She still goes to NOLA games. She still go to teams she used to coach for, and she still does that to this day. And that was some of the things we was going to bring to, and to what you said at the beginning about Angel. Like I said, if you was truly watching Angel this whole time, you should have known, if you want her to have the best impact, for her to be herself immediately on the impact team, it was going to be coming off the bench. And it's no slight coming off the bench, because she can be one of those people to end games. Because when it's crunch time, you're going to need defense and you're going to need rebounding. And that's something you don't have to teach her. She already knows how to do it.
Yeah. And to get into the direct quote with that, Coach Spoon saying this. Cardoso and Angel, their development relies on playing time. Both are expected to get ample opportunities and minutes this season, but won't commit to either one of them starting. Did say, though, that if anyone is going to start, the more likely seems to be Carmela Cardoso in that starting lineup, but the rotations will fluctuate. And then it seems like media is also saying the first practice, 30 minutes of that were open to media. And in that, she had both ladies kind of rotating in and out of there with the projected starting lineups, kind of finding the best mix of that. And Witherspoon saying this as well. We hear the noise, we hear it, and that's what we see it as, noise. We're not worried about what the outside world says. It's about what we say and doing it the right way. Again, I understand why everybody is like kind of considering she's the 7th overall pick. We know what she can be, and I hate that now we've getting in this era where I don't want to call it the more casual basketball fans, but they look at it as like it's a slight, like you hate somebody if you say they're not going to be started. No, you actually could be saying that in those minutes because coming off the bench, they're going to be able to be more of a focal point. And like we said, and you just alluded to, it's about finishing games, not necessarily always who starts. And with Angel's defense, she's going to be out there finishing games.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like even like I'm gonna be blunt. Y'all are casuals. You really are because it happens in the NBA as well. Yeah. Anthony Black was the 8th, 9th pick in the draft.
Yeah.
He's not starting to this day, and he's not injured. You can be a top pick and not being made to. I was like, bro, I thought I was tripping. But yeah, when it comes to it, hold on. Anyway, yeah, when it comes down to it, just because you're a top pick, it's about fit. It's about fit. And just because you go early doesn't mean there's been number 1 picks that didn't start out the gate. Exactly. It's not when you're coming into this league and especially at the positions he's at between the 3 and the 4. We're in a generation of players, especially in the WNBA. That's like the best players right now. Like on our team, we have a lot of 3s and 4s that on the offensive side of the ball, they're better than what Angel currently is. Now, do I have belief that she can get to that level? Hell yeah. But it's
for sure.
And she knows it. But my thing is, if you're paying attention to Angel, she knows I'm gonna come. It's a battle. I know I wanted the challenge. I want to be a rookie. I want to start from the first thing she said when she got drafted. I wanted to start from the bottom again. I was on a high for the last 2 years after the championship. I want to bring for somebody to say they basically want to get humbled and get sent her back to earth. Yeah. That's scary because that means she's really trying to get better at her craft. So no, every time we say something like that, it's not a slight. It is pay attention to ball. It happens on every level. Just because you're popular and you're a top pick doesn't mean you get a fast lane to anything. That's just not the case.
And the thing is like I said before too, is like how many players that started above Manu Ginobili were better than him? None of them. And it's not even that we're saying that she's going to be a career off the bench. I'm not even saying that she's going to spend the whole season coming off the bench, but she's probably not going to start off the season. And it comes down to personnel. It's about shooting, and people confuse scoring and shooting. And for the people that sit there and say, well, y'all must have missed out on Maryland. She was starting to do. Listen, if you think that just because of some flashes at Maryland, come on, let's be real here. Angel Reese has to work on shooting, and it's not her fault. You have 2 non-shooters that are going to be in the starting lineup, Elizabeth Williams and Camila Cardoso. In what world in the NBA, when you have other players that can shoot, does it make sense to start 3 players that can't stretch the floor? You know what that makes it? Again, I know this is high-level basketball. This is above the stat sheet, but it makes the defense, and especially in the WNBA, where it is more physical, when you allow a defense to pack in on you because you have 3 non-shooters on the court at one time, you're not putting any of those ladies in the best situation. None of them.
Once again, for people that say they watched the game, y'all not watching it. Because I watched her at Maryland. She averaged like 3 jump shots a game. Yeah. She didn't shoot. And it's not saying she can't. It's just she didn't.
It's there. She's gonna round it out. That's
right. She's gonna do it.
Yeah.
Right. Like we're not saying she can't. We're just saying right now is not in a. She does not have the place right now where she could come into the WNBA and stroke it. That's just
Yeah,
not what she. That's not what it is right now, and she could become that. But y'all trying to put her. See, if y'all was GMs, y'all would be putting more damage on her than anything because you're gonna put her in a situation she doesn't need to be in right now. We want her to have a long career. We want her to grow.
yeah,
And then that's coming off the bench right now, rounding out her offensive game and just getting way smarter and better in the W, which we all know will and probably will happen.
yeah. We'll see, man. Like I said, like ultimately, and I trust Coach Spoon. So even without that said, if Coach Spoon comes out and we're talking about the first game of the regular season, because we know there's going to be some experimenting what we only play what 2-3 preseason games. No, we don't play a whole hell of a lot.
I think it's like
There's
yeah.
going to be some experimenting in that. But if Coach Spoon feels comfortable starting Camilla and Angel in the starting lineup, then we're going to trust Spoon. Nobody's saying that it's a foregone like she sucks so she can't start. It's just about looking at the totality of this roster and what is going to be best to help her round out her game. She's a great player, tremendous potential. She is going to be one of the best when it's all said and done Chicago Sky players of all time. It's gonna happen. Her and Camilla, I hope they are the first great tandem that plays their whole career together in Chicago
I'm,
Sky
I
uniforms. I
hope it's
hope
a
so.
statue. I hope it's
Yeah,
the twin statues coming their way, and I feel like they can do it. I feel like they can do it.
absolutely.
But just because it's not starting off how y'all think y'all want it to start, doesn't mean it's not going to round out like y'all think. There's people that been look at Jimmy Butler. He wasn't a top pick, and he worked his way into a star, and now he's a bona fide superstar right now.
Yeah. It is what it is, man. It comes with the territory, and I understand it. But overall, like to get back on this training camp, I love that in the first training camp, it seems like they're setting culture, they're setting expectations, and they're setting a play style. And that's the point of training camp. And yeah, it's condensed in the WNBA. We don't have as long of training camps or preseasons as in
Yeah.
the NBA or even the NFL for that matter. And so you got to kind of learn on the fly. And it is a quick turnaround from the women's season as well. And I think that that's going to be how they adjust to that. And Angel Reese has already talked about that, in her video that she posted yesterday, talking about watching Candace Parker and how much she's trying to adapt her game to that. All great thing. Like, and the people, as much as we talked about, like the Angel radicals, right? Let's talk about the people who deny or try to knock down Angel. Because I see some of you guys, I think one of the guys' name is Andrew in the comments. The overall, like if the competitor she is on the court, I want that. But you got to learn the woman. Angel Reese is a highly intelligent, smart woman who's passionate about women's sports and the game of basketball. And she is, if anybody's going to maximize on their development and their potential, you best believe it's going to be Angel Reese. Y'all got to stop knocking her because y'all don't like the way that she trash talked or whatever else. Because I tell you what, I don't know where anybody's from. I'm not here to critique on that. But Angel Reese is the type of players we like in Chicago. That's it.
And then also it just also tell me where you're from if you're not used to it, because like I said, I've been telling y'all about. I'm like, y'all need to get on this girl in Maryland. This
Yeah.
this is the most cagey Kevin Garnett girl I ever seen in my life. She talk crazy, but she back it up. Those are my favorite players. Russell Westbrook has been one of my favorite players for years because he gives you 110% every single night. And even if he's not that skilled, he's going to win games. He's going to win
Yeah.
games. And that's one thing about Angel. She wins. Everywhere she's gone, she's
She
won.
win. Yep.
She's a
Yep.
winner. She's a bona fide winner. Camilla's a bona fide winner. So when you put them around with certain people, especially when you get somebody like Teaspoon around it, we seen the demon Zion can be.
Yeah.
And that had a lot to do with Teaspoon.
Yep. And there's a reason why
So
his nutrition and stuff has not been the same since she left, unfortunately. And all I'll say is that for those that do doubt Angel Reese as far as what she can turn into as a player, not whether she starts or not, but the people that doubt what she can turn into, just keep saying it because she's proved everybody wrong at every step of her basketball career. And Camilla as well. Like one of the best things that could have happened is to have Coach Spoon be the coach to guide these women's development, because we know that
yeah,
Coach Spoon played and still carries itself with that chip on her shoulder in perpetuity.
all right.
You you
And then
you,
you're and then I gotta say this. With the addition of Ty Young, she's
oh
literally the
yeah,
same build
yeah,
as Angel. she can teach her how to score.
That's a fact.
She can teach her so many ways. She's literally
Yeah.
built the same way.
Yeah. And the motor, man, the motor on like this team in general. Like, and I know we're talking a lot about the young players and the rookies, but like, I can't wait to see what. Because keep in mind, Marina Mabry's also a player that has a bunch of edge. We saw it; she got an edge to her, bro. And like, listen,
Bro, she
this,
talk crazy. She
yeah,
ain't. She don't back down. She
from
talk shit.
nobody,
She
yeah,
making shots, and even somebody I keep bringing up, Kennedy Carter, who's somebody I think is going to make.
yeah.
She is somebody that played downhill, and I see. And to be honest, I'm not gonna compare her to KFC, but she KFC like.
I feel
She
that.
a
I feel where
smaller
you're coming from with
KFC
that.
to me.
I feel where
Yeah.
you're coming with that. And then also, I want to. I don't not to say. I know Michaela was a rookie of the year, and she was the first rookie of the year, I think, since
Like
like
we keep
2005
yeah.
to not have double-digit points. But regardless of all the expectations, rookie of the year, throw it out the way. That woman got a motor on her too, and so
A
that's what
motor.
this is going to be. A team that fights hard, and that's the thing. Regardless of whatever the record is, this is going to be a team that when you play the Chicago Sky, teams are going to feel the fact that they played the Sky.
Yeah,
And that's what
and
I
they're
can't
willing
wait to
to
see.
get better. I'm
Yeah,
glad you bring up Michaela because I watched her at UCLA. She didn't have a shot. She
yeah.
got a shot now, and
So
she talked even in her interview. She talked about how her roles has changed as she went from New York to Phoenix, and it completely changed. So this could be a potential breakout year for her as well. Like there's a lot of stories, there's a lot of talent that we're not even bringing up just because of Camilla and Cardoso and Brienne is here as well.
yeah.
So bro, can the season start?
I
Can the
can't wait,
season
bro.
start?
I can't wait. And for
Yeah.
those that don't know that knew, so during the season, what we will have for the first preseason game, which is this Saturday, we'll have a live pregame show, a halftime hangout. Well, that's if C-Dub doesn't do the live call. We may have a live call during the game, and if that's going to happen, that'll be the first time that happens on the channel. And then we'll have a live post-game show as well. So make sure you guys stay tuned in. Hit that subscribe button. Steve-O, any last thoughts before we get up out of here, brother?
Hey, all I gotta say is when C-Dub do this live call, y'all gonna love him.
It's gonna be
Y'all
fun.
y'all don't even know what y'all got in store for this
That's a
season.
fact.
That's all I gotta say.
That's a fact, man. But you guys can follow us at Chicago Sky Pod. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns, Chicago Sky Central, gmail.com. And then lastly, if you want to leave a text message, and which we did get a voicemail. I got your voicemail, Nate. We'll play it on the next episode. I actually forgot about it this time. We'll play it on the next episode. But the number to do that, 770-2799 with the number one spot for everything Chicago Sky related. We'll see you guys next time. Peace.
This has been a presentation of the Break Media.